You have caught them red-handed. You have the text messages, the bank statements, or the cold, undeniable timeline of facts proving they just lied straight to your face. Naturally, you present the evidence, expecting a confession. But instead of apologizing, they look you dead in the eye and say, "I never did that. You're completely crazy." Or worse, they explode with righteous fury, accusing you of being paranoid, untrustworthy, and toxic. This is the dreaded wall of denial, and most people make a critical, permanent mistake here. They argue, they shout, they point at the evidence over and over, and they lose their temper trying to force a confession out of a ghost. But in advanced behavioral psychology, we know that arguing with a liar who denies everything is a complete trap. A master manipulator or narcissist is not trying to win an intellectual debate. They are trying to drag you into an emotional war. The moment you start arguing, you are silently broadcasting that your reality requires their permission to be true. You hand them the power to negotiate the facts. But what if you could render their denial completely useless? What if you could use a high-status psychological response that bypasses their defense mechanisms entirely, leaving them paralyzed while you maintain absolute mental control? Today, you are going to learn how to weaponize their denial. We are breaking down the precise linguistic matrix to handle a lying denier without ever raising your voice. To understand why you must never argue, we have to look closely at the mechanics of defensive gaslighting. A pathological or manipulative liar does not deny facts to convince you. They deny facts to protect their own fragile ego and to destabilize your nervous system. When they scream, look offended, or feign complete innocence, they are hyper-vigilantly watching your reaction. They want to see you get upset. If you yell back or try to explain your reasoning, their brain receives a massive wave of psychological relief. Why? Because you have successfully shifted the topic of the conversation away from their bad behavior and onto your emotional reaction. Now the conversation is about how you are talking to them, rather than what they actually did. The secret to winning this dynamic is reality monopolization. You must completely refuse to negotiate what is real. You must understand a fundamental psychological law. A liar's confession is entirely optional for the truth to exist. You do not need their signature on a piece of paper to validate your own sanity. By refusing to engage in the debate, you starve them of the conflict they desperately need to rewrite the narrative. This protocol requires supreme emotional discipline. The next time someone flatly denies a lie that you know is true, execute these 3 precise chronological phases. Phase number 1 is the infinite void stare. The exact millisecond they finish screaming their denial, do not respond. Do not present your evidence again. Instead, freeze your face into a completely blank, clinical expression. Look directly into their eyes, right at the bridge of their nose, and let a cold, dead silence hang in the air for 4 full seconds. Human beings cannot tolerate an emotional vacuum, especially liars who are waiting for feedback to see if their denial worked. By offering an unreadable void, their internal anxiety spikes exponentially. They are left standing completely naked with their lie, wondering if you are about to drop a bomb on them. Phase number 2 is the absolute fact anchor. Once the silence has heavily weighed down the room, you deliver your response. You do not argue the facts. You state your final conclusion with absolute calm finality. Use this precise linguistic script. I hear what you're saying, but I know what happened, and I'm completely comfortable with my reality. We don't need to debate this. Deliver this line with a calm, melodic, and slow-paced voice. Do not raise your pitch at the end. By saying you are comfortable with your reality, you signal to their subconscious mind that their gaslighting has completely failed to destabilize your mind. You are explicitly telling them that their permission is not required for you to know the truth. You anchor yourself in fact, rendering their vocal denial entirely irrelevant. Phase number 3 is the transactional consequence freeze. This is where the trap snaps shut. After stating your anchor line, you do not wait for their comeback. You immediately pivot the relationship away from emotional validation and move straight into cold, transactional boundaries. Look at them and say softly, "Because of this, I'm changing the parameters of how we communicate." The moment you state the consequence, turn your shoulders away or walk completely out of the room. By imposing a cold, real-world consequence without needing them to admit fault, you strip them of their weapon. They are left trapped in a loop of denial that has yielded absolutely zero emotional payoff and carried a heavy social cost. True power in toxic social dynamics is never about winning a shouting match. It is about protecting your mental sovereignty. A liar can only pull your strings if you keep picking up the ropes of their arguments. When you anchor yourself completely in your own perception of truth and move straight to consequences, you become far more difficult to manipulate. The next time someone tries to deny reality to your face, do not argue. Drop the void stare, state your final anchor, and walk away into your own peace. You hold the fortress now. If you want to keep building your psychological armor and mastering the hidden laws of human behavior, hit that subscribe button right now. Stay aware, stay safe, and never let them pull your strings.